Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley French. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Global Programs Manager at SWE, and we are excited to host Building STEM Futures, growing SWENext Clubs globally. This is the first time we've hosted this session, so we're really excited to have this as a resource for you all today. And this is really in alignment with SWE strategic goals, especially our SWENext clubs that are for young women that are looking to pursue careers in STEM and sparking interest in engineering from girls at any age. So some of those strategic goals that are in alignment with today's session and our SWENext programs are showing women and girls of all ages that engineers solve real world problems and improve quality of life, position engineering as a top choice of education and attractive profession. And then, of course, helping girls develop a STEM identity and build their self-confidence. So really excited to just dive into resources and next steps on our SWENext clubs. So with that in mind, we do have a really great packed agenda for today and some special guests. We will start with, I'm going to introduce in a minute, Marquita Riley, who will be talking about our SWENext clubs. And then we have some special guests with us today, some global leaders and club counselors who will be sharing their own personal success stories. And then we are going to do some overview of our SWENext resources. There are a lot and they're really helpful. And then with the time we have left, this is going to be a time for you to unmute, ask questions for a Q&A, and then we're going to have some breakout discussions with the time that we have left. So a lot of content that we'll go over. And as I mentioned, we will be putting some links throughout the call in the chat. And we will also have a survey that we send out after the call with the recording and PowerPoint for you. All right, so let's get started. I would love to introduce to you today Marquita Riley, who is our Manager of Outreach and Student Programs at SWE, and she's going to dive into our SWENext overview. Thank you, Marquita.
Awesome, awesome, Ashley. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. As you have heard from our lovely Ashley French, which you all are so familiar with, I am Marquita Riley, the Outreach and Student Programs Manager for SWEHQ, and I'm going to be taking you on a little journey. We're going to be driving a little bit with me in the car, so hopefully you guys got your coffee, your second round of coffee for some of you guys, and I'm going to jump right into SWENext. So some of you all might be a little familiar with SWENext. Some of you might not have a clue what the heck SWENext is. So my job is to tell you a little bit more about it. So first, I'd like to share that SWENext is our pre-college program that we have as an extension of the mission of SWE. So of course, we know how important it is to engage students very early in math and science, and in particular, engineering careers early and getting them exploring that. And so this is the way that we do it. So some of the initiatives that we really set out to have, the goals of this program, is to make sure that it is accessible. So the first thing you'll see here is that we offer the program free for all students ages 5 to 18, with the goal of inspiring and supporting students' interest in STEM and their choice to pursue an engineering or technology degree. So hopefully once they leave our program, they graduate and go on to continue on to explore a STEM pathway. So one of the other important things that we really want to do, a part of this program, is to create a safe, inclusive community where students can learn, network, and connect with their peers, role models, and industry professionals, which is super important because we know that in order for them to feel successful, they need a network of support to surround them. So we are their first part of their village as we continue on through this program. So we're going to move to the next slide. So as a part of SWENext, we have many, many initiatives that we have and projects we work with to engage girls. One of those programs is SWENext Clubs. Along with that, we have other programs that are for particular age groups, like high schoolers that are interested in learning more leadership skills. And then we have other programs that are more involved with all ages or younger ages. So this is just one version of that, and that's the one we're going to be talking about for majority of our time with you today. So SWENext Clubs is a way to lead change in your local community. So we want students to not just look at SWE as this kind of broad stroke. We want them to be able to look at their local community and how they can engage there first. So we expose students to STEM through this program on a larger scale, because we usually are able to reach more kids quickly, connect with local SWE sections and global affiliates, foster those connections with peers and other SWEnexters that are local to them, allow them the opportunity to give back to younger students as well through outreach events, creating their own vision and mission, which we know is super important. We have a very flexible framework, so it allows them to kind of do anything from leadership to focusing in on robotics or different things like that. Whatever they want to leave a mark on this world with their club, they can do that through this program. And then, of course, the most important part, again, free to start. There is really low to no initial cost to becoming a SWENext Club. So we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like on the next slide. So some of the benefits, as I mentioned before, are already on here that we just discussed. So that's that low to no cost start to maintain a club. But then we also have some other really cool benefits to starting a SWENext Club. So you'll see here that you can be associated with both SWE and any other organization that you're currently working with. So say you're involved with Girl Scouts or you're involved with First Robotics, you're able to still maintain those relationships. Many of those are our industry partners. So a lot of times you'll see us collaborate on projects to create more funding opportunities or projects that we'll work together on. And that is something that you can benefit from as a part of this program. You can also ensure that we leave no student behind and make sure that we have all students welcomed where they can focus on whatever community that they're passionate about. So if you have a diversity organization that maybe is around SHIP or NESB, if you hear any of those key buzzwords, or Girls Inc., those are very niche organizations that we can also bring into those SWENext Clubs as well. But again, it is not limited in that way. It just opens up more opportunities to allow more students to participate. It's easy to collaborate with other existing SWENext Clubs to maximize your reach and benefits. So say you have a bunch of clubs in your area, well, not a bunch of clubs, sorry, a bunch of schools in a district or a bunch of schools in a given region, and you're saying, I don't know if we can, get our hands around starting 7 new clubs. You could take those clubs and merge them and combine them as you see fit and make a regional club. So that's something that is really easy for you to do by looking into some of the resources we have that we'll be talking about later that will allow you to locate clubs closest to you and kind of collaborate, but also have someone to guide you through that process, especially if they've already been through it. So it makes the job a little easier of a lift. Only 75% of the club members have to be a part of the SWENext program. So not everybody might be interested in STEM. Not everybody might be specifically interested in SWE. That is totally fine. But we do leave the room for those that are to be able to maximize those benefits. But again, we allow that flexibility that if you have some kids that aren't necessarily into that, they can still be a part of the club, which is of course a part of that inclusivity that you see with us welcoming all students to the program. You have an access to a network of STEM professionals. That's the most important thing. You can easily connect to those networks through our SWE sections and affiliates, where you are able to basically pull in some of those SWE members to do events. You can collaborate on events, you can collaborate on funding opportunities, or you can simply just ask them for advice on how to do outreach. Those are really good ways to connect with them, and then also offer mentorship opportunities for those students as well. There's higher chances of those students receiving scholarships, awards, and opportunities for SWE partnerships or local partnerships. And then, of course, the most important part is the impact, right? We want to develop the student leadership and technical skills that they need that not only will be valuable where they're at, but will be valuable well into their career. So that's our goal for our students, is to really make sure that they have all the support and the confidence they need to really continue to stick this thing out and hopefully become an engineer one day. So that's the important thing, that we mirror a lot of our SWE section and affiliate goals so that by the time they get to that level, they'll already be prepared. I'm sorry, that was my point for next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit more of the weeds of how does this all work? So what is your role? Why are you telling me about SWENext Clubs, right? So in essence, we need you, right? We need you all as ambassadors. We need you all as leaders globally to really lock in at this point. And so maybe it's not you per se, but maybe you know someone that is also maybe interested in doing outreach but doesn't know how to get started. This is kind of the first point of contact. So we really want somebody to sign on to be a club counselor. And in order to be a club counselor, there are a couple things that we want to familiarize you all with so that you understand why this is so important. So while SWENext Clubs can basically run themselves, and we really, really highly recommend that you allow students to take the lead on a lot of the things that they do within the club, we still need someone to kind of help manage and oversee. We know we can't just let kids kind of just, go wild. We want them to go a little wild, but not too wild. So we have a couple ways that we want to really highlight here. So one is really allowing them to engage with SWE. So keeping them connected to SWE through you is going to be super important. A lot of that community building and engaging happens with you introducing them to the opportunities that we have with SWE. So that's the number one thing. And of course, we are looking for folks that are already paid members to SWE as well. So that is kind of like our way to keep that connection there relatively easy. The next part of this is really that mentorship and advisor role. So if they get off track, if they lose focus, if they get too busy to be more involved, it's your job to center them and kind of help guide them through the roadblocks or obstacles that they might have or face. Maybe there's some conflict resolution opportunities there. Those are all things that we really want you to help them through. And then of course, helping them to really lock into those teachable moments. So maybe they decide they want to do a robotics team or whatever the case may be, and your job is to kind of help guide them to the finish line. So that's exactly what we want the club counselor role to be about. And that's probably one of the most important parts, is really helping them continue to keep that confidence no matter what is going on. You're kind of the lead on that. So that is really an important part of being a club counselor. Then we have the project manager or maintenance part of this role. So that's really you, again, just making sure that the club is in good health and that it is active. And the active status of the club is dependent on the active status of the SWE members. So we want to make sure that the logistics around that is maintained as well. And so that'll kind of be your role, or anything that you seek out. Say you want to do a really big outreach event. Those are things that will take a little more than just the students to kind of run. So of course, we would want you to put your hands around that as well. And then of course, collaboration. So you again are the resource for those students to get connected to other schools, other networks, organizations. That would kind of be also your role, is to really look at opportunities to engage others in collaborative opportunities. And so again, that's going to be another large role that you have as a part of being a club counselor. But ultimately, again, it's your job just to mentor them. That's the most important thing. And we hope that, through you, they will continue to engage with engineering, but also with our program as well. And now for our favorite part, is where you get to hear us stop talking about all of the knowledge-based information, and you can really hear from the success stories of those that are really doing the work in their community, to give you really strong examples and hopefully tips and tricks on how to be successful in starting your own club as well. So first up, we have Stella. She's going to be the one to tell us a little bit more about her club and tell us a little bit more advice on how you can start your own. So I'm going to give the floor to you, Stella. Have a way at it.
Yeah, thank you, Marquita. Thank you so much. I'm Stella Uzochukwu-Dennis, and basically, my background is electrical electronics, and my section where I've been making this wave is FCT, and happily and luckily for me, I think my FCT chair is also in this meeting. So I want to say what made it successful was basically, for me, was they always had something to do. There was this newsletter. I don't know if it still works. Newsletter every month for a challenge. I mean, so the girls are always coming in asking for a program to do and what next to do. So we had always a challenge. We needed to submit, they need to do their videos and all that. So basically, I think that's helped the girls coming in and coming in and coming every time. We also had we had roles for them to play, like Makita was talking about. We let them have things to do, but I mean, we're there as a senior counselor to be able to check what they do. So we had this students who were we actually call them the CEO, the COO, and all that. So we gave them names that really made them to want to come in every time and always they're happy to bear the name of a CEO and then wear the shoes. And then some of our adult affiliates are around to help see what they are doing. And so we also ensured that parents and teachers were involved in everything we do, because we actually had to register, work with school board to be able to have access to the students in their school sometimes. And if you can see in the picture down, you'll see I am there with some of the students, Engineer Anthea Ugotu is there, and then Augustina. So we were in their classroom. You can see the chairs in the classroom. So we had to work with the teachers. And if you also look at that particular picture, you will notice that most of the students are gone home. So sometimes we do this as after school. And so the parents had to be involved to come maybe a little later, 1 hour after that, to be able to come in for this program, to pick them after the classes. So basically the parents, the teachers, and the community, everyone who is it's a collaborative effect for all of us. So everybody is involved. And so even the teachers, before we come, they get the students gathered in a place for us to work with. So basically, these are things that has helped us be successful, even after being the first registered SWENext Club outside the United States. So we pride on that. And we had students who also did some of these monthly challenges and even won prizes that had to come to the US to also get involved with the SWE conference. So basically, I think this is what has made our SWENext Club very successful. And so I think that's basically my own part of my success story.
And what a success it truly is. It's so funny. I've known Stella for a long time now, and I've known her first for her work in SWENext Clubs and how active they've been, winning lots of recognition and awards for all the work that they are doing. So thank you so much. I think that's great advice. And I think the one thing that really sticks out to me is engaging parents and guardians as well as educators in the work, right? So you're not just running events where it's just the student, but a real huge part of that is the parents, right? They're the ones that keep the the ambition going. Like they are the ones that are really the cheerleaders to make sure that they get to these events, that they're doing the work, that they are participating. So if they fall off or slack, there's some accountability there between you and that student. So I think that is uber important to the success of any club, right? So great job, great job. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's so nice to hear it from your mouth because I'm always reading about it. So it's nice to hear it from you directly. So thank you so much. Yes, we have more with Stella. Don't worry, she's gonna answer plenty of questions. But we are going to move on to our next success story, and that is going to be. She's given me the permission to call her Carol. So Carolyn is going to be up next. And she has a wonderful club she's going to share with us. And I'm super excited because she's on the newer side. So a lot of you folks that are, kind of that stage 0, stage 1, I think you can learn a lot from her. So I'm going to give her the floor now.
Hello, are you listening to me well? Yeah?
Yep, we hear you.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Carol. I'm from Brazil, and I work as business development in John Deere. I'm a member of SWE Science 2022, and nowadays I am a global ambassador that is focused in the SWENext Club, SWE IFSP Campinas. To better contextualize you about my club, the girls are 17 years old, and the club was created in September of last year. So nowadays we are in 3 girls, but they are very good. Very, very, very good. Since we started, I always have a constant contact with them. And the first thing that we made was define our goal and a strategic planning of what we want to do. Because without a goal, we can't like do only actions. No, we need to have a place that we want to, something that we want to achieve. So our goal is to develop the interest of studying in technical schools in teenagers of 13, 14 years old in poor situation. So the girls are in, the girls study in a technical electronic technical schools, and we want to talk with teenagers 1 year before it starts the high school. So this is our focus. And how we will do this? We will map, we mapping, no, we mapping, how we will do this? Mapping the schools in your city and making presentations for them. We already made one presentation because we had vacation, so we will really start this year. And our focus is talk with the schools, talk with the kids, make presentations, dynamic presentations for them. Wanna study, wanna go to technical schools, and principal in the STEM area. For me, the principal advices is three. The first of them is the action should be is set clear goals and develop a strategic planning with the girls. So you need to know what you want to achieve and how. The second is maintain constant communication and hold regular meetings. So every month we talked, we made online meetings, presential meetings every day, sometimes in the WhatsApp. So we always talked. And the last one is the actions for me. The actions should be led by the girls. Our role is to provide support. This is very important. In this case, my girls, it's older, so 17 years old, they need to have autonomy. When the kids, it's like, when it's kids, okay, it's a different situation. But when it's teenagers, they need to have autonomy. They need to do the things. You are the support. Yeah, and this is my club. We are starting now, but the girls, it's very good. We have a lot of plans, and I think that this year we will do a lot of things.
Awesome. And we talked briefly about how you start small, right? And so sometimes it can be intimidating figuring out that first step to engage more girls in your club, right? But you just start small, right? And so I think that's a really key point, is like, don't be afraid to maybe start with just one girl, right? A lot of people think that in your mind you have to do these big events to recruit like 100 kids, right? It's a really ambitious goal, and I love that. But sometimes it's okay if you start out with 0 or you start out with 1, and work from there. You don't have to wait to do the engagement. I think it's really important to really take those four that might again double to another number, and they double again because they see how all the work you're doing with just the four, right? They want to be a part of that. And I think something else you talked about that was really key is the strategic plan, making sure that you're outlining things super early about what you want to do. What is it that the girls want to do? You know, allowing them to take the lead, allowing them to feel like CEO, COO, right? That's important because that allows them, you know, to feel like, okay, no, this is really my thing, right? You know, we all know we were teenagers. We wanted that independence, right? So I think it's really key to allow them to have that too. So great part of this journey is learning that piece early. So I think that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I think this is going to really be helpful for a lot of the folks on this call. And I'm just going to hand it over to our wonderful, illustrious young lady who handles club management for all of these hundreds of clubs, and that is Abby Foss. She's going to take us a little bit more into some of our resources that we have here and share a little more details about how you can gain access to that. So I'm going to give the floor to her.
Thanks, Marquita. As she just introduced, my name is Abby Foss. I'm the program associate for outreach and student programs, and one of my main jobs is helping to manage and run clubs. We're going to get started by just talking about how to get started with clubs. As always with our clubs, we start with our club counselor. You know, having the club connected to SWE and SWE's resources, just the larger community, is such an essential part of this club. So it's either going to be you, or if you can't do it, we can have up to 3 different counselors at any club. And so if you find another person that wants to help run the club or can serve as that kind of SWE member, connecting to your club, that's one of the pieces you're going to need. The second is, of course, I'm actually going to jump to club association. You know, think about whether or not you want your club to be connected to, is your club going to be connected to a section? Are you part of a section? You want them involved? Are you connected to a company or organization that could maybe help your club? Or are you just wanting to start a club at a local high school or middle school or elementary, or at least that's US, or any grade level equivalent in the global sphere? So all of those different kind of club associations, is the umbrella term for that, are all really important to help kind of locally bring resources and help to your club. And then once that's all, once you have all that, the club application form, which is always linked to our SWENext Club website, is there for you to view before you actually submit it. If you could switch over to the next slide. Thank you. Speaking of resources, we're going to talk kind of broad general sections of resources. These are not all of the resources that are available. There's more, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them during the Q&A or later on. We have our outreach email always if you have any more questions. But the first thing we always like to point out too for clubs is start with our club directory and the section/affiliate map. The club directory is a slightly new feature. You might have heard of this as the club map before, because we had a Google map where people could scroll around to find clubs, but we added a directory just to make clubs easier to find, especially because as we're gathering more and more clubs, it's a little bit harder to pick out certain clubs on the actual map. So now it's searchable by both a club ID number, which is unique to every single club we have, as well as location-wise, country, city, and I believe that's state. And of course, just the club name itself. So if you're trying to look up clubs, as you see, I have a little sample. You'll see the club, its ID number, the primary counselor that's connected to the club, the general age range that the club is currently has members of, and then the contact email is their public contact email. So feel free to kind of browse around, see what clubs are in your area, especially if you have them. Maybe you want to kind of join in on a club to get to know clubs, or you can, if there's none in your area, of course, you can start your own, or you can connect to clubs so you can all collaborate together. The section and affiliate map is on the bottom right, or my bottom right, and that is another great resource, obviously, SWEHQ, we're here to help answer all your questions and help connect you. But the local sections are the best ones for if, say, your club wants to meet an engineer, if you want to kind of have a more mentorship sort of resource, they are the best way to find actual engineers to talk to your students. And also there are just general resources that each sections and affiliates can offer. As for the general administration and logistics, we have a quick fact sheet that's going to be a kind of 101 how to start a club, kind of quick one-pager that will be sending out and be posted on our website very, very soon, as well as our youth protection, which is both a page on our connected to our SWENext page and has a various different links for like the permission forms and just general policies regarding that, which is a requirement for all counselors to have at least gone through and agreed to. And then if any of you are kind of feeling ambitious and want to start doing larger events, our outreach toolkit is the best tool to creating larger events and kind of pushing for more outreach in general. Next slide. As for other resources, some resources to look into is our All Together blog. Right down, we have a section for outreach that's split between adult advocates and SWENexters. So if you want to find out what clubs have done in the past, this is where we'll be putting any like archival, like previous club activities. So we've been putting previous club highlights and all that, and we'll be continuing to add on to that blog to highlight both clubs and also what they've been doing. So if you're looking for activity ideas, that's a great way to start. Additionally, of course, we just have our general SWENext social media, and we post there. And because SWENext clubs are part of that SWENext umbrella, they are often integrated. For funding, because that is something that a lot of clubs want to know about. At the moment, we have roughly two SWENext based funding. We have our SWENext Club Awards, we have SWENext Club's Best Practices, and one for counselors, which has a bit of a funding component to it, as well as our SWENext Club Counselor Grant, which is for any clubs that want to start a club but are finding that requirement for a SWE membership is a financial burden, and that is there to help any and all clubs that need that. And that is basically you get a year of the educator membership if you receive that. And then finally, there's the affiliate ambassador expense advance funding. That is funding that any of you all at the global level can possibly use for your clubs to also help fund your clubs. Finally, as just a general note, our SWENext resources, while cover a broader range of just all SWENext resources students might need, there are some pieces that are very useful, especially for outreach, including brochures and flyers. And as always, we have the SWE swag store that you can use to either get items, and as members, you can print out items, order items to be printed. The only cost is shipping. And the actual flyers, there are PDFs that you can also print at your own leisure. And then last but not least is our Constance and Nano comic. This is free digitally and also available for printing. And if any of you weren't aware, we have our 5th volume out. So we have 5 volumes total now, and the 5th one just came out in last fall during IIBI. So feel free to check that out and bring that to your club as well.